Today you're gonna learn how to make Hong Kong style egg bubble waffle.
I'm Kristin, the bubble tea queen, and welcome to my channel.
Welcome to this special series on how to make boba shop recipes using bubble tea shop restaurant quality grade ingredients. Today we're going to be using an industrial restaurant quality grade bubble waffle maker, but just remember you can always find types for home use on the internet. Please remember that whenever you're working with a machine that's very hot, you always keep your distance and wear protective equipment so that way you don't burn your hands. Egg bubble waffle is super popular, and my recipe from Hong Kong is one of a kind. I can't wait for you to try it. This is a hot hands, and the hot hands is great because the waffles are really, really hot. So you'll use this, generally speaking, in your left hand, and then you'll use this item right here, which is like a little tong or a stick, and you'll push it through the waffle, pull it up a little bit, and then with the hot hand, you'll kind of maneuver it onto this thing. Now this is, in the UK, you put pieces of toast in it. Basically, it's like got a little divider with metal, but it's perfect for the waffle because you want the waffle shape, the traditional Hong Kong style waffle shape, to just be a little like this. You want it to be sort of round, if you will, so that gives a really great shape there. It is quite trendy right now to put them wrapped or folded inside like a crepe or a French fry container, and then they put all the toppings inside, and then people kind of take it and go and they just eat it like with a fork. I tend to do it the traditional way, but whatever way works for you. So for this one, again, you just put it on top, then you put it in front of the fan, which I've got the fan right here. So that goes in front of the fan. You just leave it there for 30 seconds. You just want it to kind of crisp up. If you just hand it to the customer right away, it's going to be very soft. It still isn't that cooking process. So what we want to do right away is just shock it with some cold air, and then that way it will kind of keep that shape. If you want it to be the wrapped shape or the folded shape a little bit, we just want to make sure that we get it nice and crispy on the outside, which is what the fan is for. This is a wooden stick, popsicle stick in America we would call them, and it's basically a piece of wood that has soft edges. They're cheap enough, you use them a couple times, and then you just throw them away at the end of the day. But basically, this way, you will not scrape the actual metal, especially if it's non-stick. Even with this thing, if you aggressively go into the machine with this, you could potentially scrape off the non-stick part of the machine. So you need to be really careful anytime you have non-stick and you're using metal around it, which is why I opt for the wood. Anything wood, I wouldn't use a spoon because this will melt. The machine is very, very hot, so I find that wood works really well. You're gonna need it to scrape off the outsides of the waffle. Also, you can use this to assist yourself in peeling back the waffle when you wanna take it out of the machine as well. So this is also very important. Then I have this measuring jug here. Now, you could use whatever size works for you. This is just the one that I use. But basically, I've got it pre-measured for my waffle machine. So for mine, it's 125 milliliters of the waffle mix, the pre-made waffle mix, 125 milliliters. That is without a topping on the inside. If you are gonna be adding a topping on the inside, it may behoove you, depending on how many inside toppings you do on your waffle, you might wanna have a few of these. Have one for Oreo, have one for matcha, have one for chocolate, and then what you would do is you would fill it up just below 125 and then put your scoop of Oreo, matcha, chocolate, whatever it is, stir it together and then pour it onto the machine. Another option of putting a topping on the inside would be you pour half of it on, then you put the topping, then you pour the rest on and you kind of smooth it out. Whatever works for you. Then you want to have a double timer type thing. I also have the other double timer, which you might have seen in my boba video. That one is great because it just has 1 and 2. This one actually has 4 because we have 2 machines. So not to complicate things even more, if you're just doing one machine at a time, you'll just do T1, T2. T1 has 3 minutes and 30 seconds. T2 has 1 minute and 30 seconds. T3 would have 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and T4 would have 1 minute and 30 seconds. You want to make sure that you link up whoever you're working with on your staff team to understand all the different ones. That way, as soon as you make the waffle and it's cooking, you hit T1 and T2 at the same time. T2 will go off first, then T1 will go off thereafter. It's all about having procedures that work for you and your shop. Okay, so on my machines, I know that 160 degrees Celsius is the perfect temperature. If I have it warmer than that, it gets burned really easily, goes black, doesn't taste right, it cooks too quickly. If I have it less, it just doesn't cook enough, it takes a really, really long time, and it never really gets that crunchiness. So what I did here was I put on a label 160, and in order to get it so the staff can't accidentally move it back and forth at any point, you wanna get this. This is like a sticky tack sort of stuff. You can basically, put it on the wall and it sticks, and then when you want to take it off, you just take it off. In the UK, we call it blue tack, and you just want to wedge that in there, and then that way, there's no way that that temperature gauge is going to be moving accidentally by yourself or by the staff. Now, there is a timer on here. The reason why we don't use the timer, the reason why we use the electric timer instead, 2 reasons. First of all, you want to have your halfway point in time to be able to turn it, which you'll see in a minute. The other reason is because sometimes this timer just doesn't work. At least with this one, you know it's going off, you can look at it. And then of course right here, as you can see, there's the on-off switch and then the heating lamp, which means that it is heating up. I have 2 trays. I've got 1 tray underneath my drying bubble waffle to catch any of the little bits. And then the second tray under my actual waffle machine, which will catch anything sort of dribbling down, and then that way there's less cleanup at the end of the day, because believe me, bubble waffles get really messy if you're not careful. So even though this waffle maker is considered non-stick, we still want to actually put a little bit of oil on the top and the bottom. It will really make a difference when you're trying to actually take it out of the machine. If you happen to buy a second-hand machine and the non-stick has actually like worn off, or maybe they didn't treat it very well and it's scraped off and whatnot, then you definitely want to make sure that you are using oil in order to take it off. Because what'll happen is if you don't have that, or if you don't use the oil, then it just won't come off as easily and you'll end up having to clean the machine every single time you're done using it. But this way, if you do put a little bit of oil on it, it makes it more non-stick and actually makes the outside a lot more crispy as well, which is very, very nice. Let me just show you the 2 options that we use. This is a little more expensive, but it's a great option if you're only using it at home. It's an oil spray, if you will. The less expensive option, especially for shops, is to just use a little bit of vegetable oil. You simply pour it into a container and leave the container near the bubble waffle machine, and then you have one of these little basting brushes, and you just kind of put it in there and really carefully wipe it on the inside of the waffle machine. You do have to be careful though, because the waffle machine is very, very hot, and if you're going like this up and down it, inevitably the oil will just kind of spray a little bit, and your staff might get little burns. So I think the safer option is to find one of these sprays that you can use on the machine. But again, this is another really good option as long as you train your staff really well about how to be very careful when they're applying the oil onto a very hot machine. As soon as a customer orders Bubble Waffle, if you don't already have the machine on, make sure you turn it on right away, because it does take about 3 to 3.5 minutes in order for it to fully heat up from being cold. However, if you're using a home version of the Bubble Waffle machine, that usually only takes about 30 to 45 seconds to heat up. It's super fast. If you accidentally just turn your machine on and then put the waffle mix on it, unfortunately it's not gonna cook correctly, and you do really have to be careful because this has egg in it. So just make sure that your machine is heated up completely, and whatever machine you're using, just check your instruction manual to make sure that you know when it's ready and it's at the right temperature. So for my machine, I'm gonna be heating it up for 3.5 minutes. I'm just gonna turn it on and get it ready. My waffle mix has been in the fridge for at least an hour. If you've been keeping this overnight, or if it's been sitting around for a while in the fridge, you just wanna make sure you get a whisk and just whisk it up real quick, just to kind of mix everything together. It doesn't need a full re-whisk or anything, just simply making sure that if there are any layers or anything might have settled at the top, that we're just giving a quick stir, make sure everything is combined. Here we go, just really simply like that. And again, I know for my waffle machine, it is 125 milliliters, which is why I have that marked off right there. And I'm just going to pour it in. Like that. And that's set to go. I'm gonna pop this back in the fridge. And either once this is heated or while it's heating up, we want to go ahead and put the oil on. I'm just gonna be using this one real quick here. Give it a few sprays. Okay, and then I'm going to carefully go all the way around on the outside, working my way in like a spider web, and then I'm gonna pour the remaining in the center, and I'm going to evenly spread it out really nicely with the back of my spoon. I'll show you exactly what I mean. And then using my spoon, I'm just going to quickly gather any little extra bits off the inside. And now, pushing it around. And the reason why I use this technique over the technique of basically over pouring it and then pushing it around once I close it, that you might see done in a lot of places, is this way you're not wasting any. I find this very efficient and very cost effective. All right, so now I'm going to very carefully close it and turn it. And I'm going to set my timer again, T1, 3:30, T2, 1:30. Now that it's closed, you need to put a really strong, heavy-duty rubber band right here, which will help to keep the heat in. We don't want it fully closed, like clamped or anything. Just a nice, really strong few rubber bands to keep it closed. So as you can see here, it's cooking really nicely and evenly. It smells really nice. You can see the steam. You can hear it coming up. It has a really nice aroma. I just wish that you could smell it. Oh, it just permeates throughout the air. And when people walk by or people come in, they go, oh, what's that smell? And then you're like, oh, Bubble Waffle. And they're like, ooh, I want to try it. So it's really, really nice. And like I said, because we used the free range eggs, the yolks are so strong. You really get that strong eggy yolk smell. And also the batter itself is nice and yellow, which is really cool as well. It really truly is a Hong Kong style Bubble Waffle. Okay, I'm just gonna turn that off real quick. Go back to T1. Still got the timer going there. So now the halfway timers, so I'm gonna turn it back to the original position and we're gonna continue with the first timer. There's still 1 minute and 30 seconds left. This is my time that I'm going to use that stick that I told you about. And I'm gonna push off the sides, anything that's on the sides there. Now again, there's not usually gonna be a lot because our measurements are very, very precise. However, occasionally you'll get a tiny little piece like this one that sort of fell out. So I just go like that, pop it off, check this side. Everything's okay. And then I'm just gonna leave that there. We're gonna let this continue cooking now for about another minute, whatever our timer says, and we'll come back to it in just a second. Okay, so as soon as our timer goes off and this is completely done, we're going to take off the rubber band and open it up carefully. Again, it's very, very hot, so be very careful. There'll be a lot of steam rising. Okay, our timer is done. I'm gonna turn off the machine, take off the rubber bands, and open it up to reveal a Bubble Waffle. All right, I've got my hot hand here and this nice little stick. I'm just gonna push the stick through really carefully. So you kind of, see, kind of turns like that. Comes up nice and easy. Now we're gonna take it over here, pop it down, take that out, and turn on the fan. Okay, so we got our waffle on our stand, the fan is going. Doesn't need that much time as long as the batter was done correctly and everything's good. After 10, 15, 30 seconds, it's ready to go. You don't necessarily wanna make it cold per se, you just wanna get it till it's nice and crispy. We're gonna close this up. If I had another waffle to make, of course I would leave it on and I would just go ahead and do the next one while this one's drying, but I'm all done for today, so I'm just gonna turn that off. Again, remember this is super, super hot. Please be careful, which is why I like using the hot hands. That way I don't burn my hands as I'm taking it out. Now again, I did prefer to use this to kind of slide it in, but another option that I like to use is the stick. Put this on, push it up a little bit, and then you can kind of peel it away and stick it over there. This is my waffle, my hands are clean, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pick it up to show you here. Look how beautiful this is. Got that really nice yellow orangey color peeping through the darkness of the brown. And on the back side, it's nice and flat. Again, traditionally, it's got a little bit of a curve. And the reason why for this is the traditional Hong Kong style, street food style bag that you would be getting it in. And you just grab one of these and just pop it in. And that's it. It's ready to go. Then of course, as people are walking around, you just eat it, walking around. It's really good, amazing, fabulous. I prefer also, when I'm doing toppings, to use this sort of boat thing here. But if you're at home, you don't need to go out and buy all this expensive stuff. Just pop it on a plate or just eat it the way it is. So for using this boat, I would just simply put it on there like that. Grab your toppings of choice. Got salted caramel, put a bunch of that on, some chocolate. I would just pour lots of condensed milk on top. Personally, that's my favorite. You can put some sprinkles, loads of ice cream, fresh fruit, whipped cream. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Now, the best way you know that this is ready, again, it's nice and warm. It's just come off the dry rack. It's got a nice hardness to it. I'd really have to push hard right now in order to crack this bubble. If it was really, really soft and it's not hard yet, either you haven't left it in front of the fan long enough or temperature was probably not high enough in order to cook the actual waffle itself. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see how it tastes. Got my little bubble right here. We open it up inside, see how it looks. Perfect. Nice and crispy on the outside. Nice and fluffy on the inside. So good. You get that nice waffle experience with the egg as well. Again, egg bubble waffle. It's just such a unique flavor. And it's such a special look to it, of course, using the bubble waffle machine. But the flavor itself is very different. It's different than Belgian waffle, it's different than American waffle. Egg bubble waffle is so unique and very, very special. It's one of those things that you really either need to make at home and try out the recipe yourself, or go somewhere who makes this and find one that uses fresh ingredients. Because believe me, there's a lot of places that make bubble waffle from scratch. And then there's a lot of places that make it from powder. There's not one right or wrong answer. The best way to enjoy a Hong Kong style bubble waffle is fresh. That way it's nice and warm and crispy. If you want to get a true Hong Kong experience of egg bubble waffle, I definitely recommend this recipe. Well guys, thanks so much for joining me today as I made this amazing, delicious Hong Kong style egg bubble waffle. Please be sure to leave your comments below and let me know, are you an egg waffle fan? Have you tried it before? Do you have a local shop that you like to get it from, or do you make it at home? One of my favorite ways to have it is with condensed milk, but also I like to stick little pieces of mochi inside each bubble. Yum, yum, yum. And while you're there, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I bring you a brand new drink video every week, and I would love for you to be part of the YouTube family. See you soon.